Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to White Rabbit. Today guys, I'll be going for a few pictures of some mud flood buildings, that were victims to the mud flood that covered up the old world. There is evidence out there that leads to a mud flood happening. So I'm going to show you those images today, and just going to be talking through them really as as we go along. Then after the end, I've got, I think, a few videos as well. 3 videos to show you guys. So yeah, as we can see here, obviously the building, most of the building here is buried, guys, and obviously there is all this dirt that's covered up the building up until this height here, and and people now live on top here. But initially this building would go a lot deeper, because this looks like the top of the building. Because as we go through more images, you would understand that a lot of the buildings that were destroyed around the 1800s, early 1900s, they had a lot of similarities in the way they were built and so on. So just keep that in mind. Keep this style here in mind of how this building looks. So let's go on to the next one. Okay, so again, mud flood, I know it's a topic, guys, but again, as we can see here, there is a building underneath this building, and the only reason why this person that took this picture noticed is because obviously the ground caved in, and if the ground had never caved in, no one would have ever known that there was a whole building underneath there. Again, guys, these are the evidence, the proof that shows that we live on top of an old civilization. Like literally, our history is buried underneath our feet. Okay, that's a giant footprint. Sorry, so we're not going to be talking about giant footprints today. More giant footprints. Oh, giant skeletons. You guys do not want to go there. So we're not talking about that today. More giant skeletons. We're talking about mud flood, guys. So let's stick to that today. Again, as you can see, guys, top image, you can see that a building coming out of the mountain. Again, which it leads to understanding. Once you do your research and you look back through all the mud flood information that's available to everyone, those who want to find the answers will find by searching. You begin to understand that most mountains are actually old buildings that have been covered up by the past mud floods and all the heat, melted buildings and so on. So so just it's interesting, guys, that you'd think mountains, but really and truly, again, on top there is all green, and you would never imagine that you was on top of a building, would you? That's your new ground level. It's like our history is right beneath us, and again, guys, as you can probably see here, again, an entire freaking structure over another structure. So what happened to these people that that lived here? Where did they go? They don't tell you anything about them in school, do they? Okay, again, guys, same close up here. You can see buildings. You got the columns there that hold up the structure, windows going on here, and I'm sure if they dug deeper, you would see more of the building. Okay, guys, again, this showing that there must have been a huge mud flood, that only a mud flood can cover up this building. It can cover up an entire building, but it must have been really fucking gigantic, okay, to cover up this entire building. And then, as you can see, after the reset, that they would have built on top here, or possibly this bottom bit here is actually connected to the top, and it goes on down a lot further. Okay, because guys, again, if you look at this image, crazy, an entire freaking building, guys, under the ground. Look how huge, look how gigantic this is. An entire freaking underground, guys, a whole city. And they wouldn't have built this underground. So this is not what I'm trying to say. They would have built this normally, and then it would have got covered up. It would have got covered up by mud. Again, going back to the mud flood, and literally our history was erased just like that. Mud flood gone, people forget because there's greenery on top and people live on. Look at that. This is everywhere. What happened to these people that built this? Where are they? What's their story? You know, there's a lot of information missing, guys. Look at that. Everywhere you look. Look at that. Everywhere you look. You've got your buildings up here, and then you've got an old world right underneath their feet. An old world. Not built underground. No. It was overground at one point, but it got covered up. And holy shit, man! Look at all that. Look how deep, how much dirt that is. That if you're up there, you think that the house begins from up here, and that's the house. But you know, the actual house goes all the way. It begins down here, guys, and that's what I'm trying to get across. That you know, our history was erased, our world was repopulated, and there must have been a reset to introduce new civilization onto the face of the plane. And you know the best way to control the new population is to make them forget. How do you make one forget? By destroying their past, their history. If you don't know where you came from, it's much more difficult to know where you're trying to head or where you need to go. Okay, because your past has a lot to do with who you truly are. Okay, if you don't know your past, you don't know who you truly are. Who are we really, you know? Again, guys, this is 1869, May 1869. Not, you know, I'll say maybe 60 years after the reset. Don't quote me on that, guys. This is what I'm saying, okay? It's okay if I'm wrong, because it's how it is. Again, guys, look at that. You'd think that this started here, but underneath that we've got a door, got a bloody door, got a window there. You know, it's just crazy. Like, how far does this go down if we kept digging? You know, so where was the original ground level for this whole area? As you can see, this building here is probably like goes a lot deeper down under the ground. Again, guys, look, these things are everywhere. It's not just in one town or one area. This is on a global scale. You see this across the world, guys. Okay, look at that. If they keep digging, you can see that there's doors there. There's one there that got blocked off. You know, it just goes a lot deeper, and you can see that these buildings resemble the buildings, the ancient buildings that they tried to make us believe that, you know, that this civilization built, you know, back in the 1800s, when, you know, it's somebody else, it's something else is happening here, where, you know, whenever there's a reset, it's almost as if a group come in and they build. I don't know, but it just is weird how these things just seem to just appear out of nowhere. You seen that one? You can see here, guys. If we were to dig again, this would go a lot deeper. Look at that, this style of building, you find them everywhere. Everywhere. Like, who built this? Who left this here? You know, search it up, guys. You know, this is to give you guys, find out who built this, how did they get there? I bet the most you'll find is it was founded by somebody, which means it was found, somebody found it. Nobody, they don't actually know who built it. Most of these buildings, if you search them up, if you look them up, you know, a lot of them will have some bullshit story behind it that doesn't really add up with the time of, you know, and technology of the individuals that lived in that particular era. And then some of them will just tell you straight up that, you know, it was founded. They don't even try to tell you that, you know, Mr. Smith built it or some shit. And, you know, just ruins. Old world. Like, you know, like what happened here, we destroyed it, you know. To this guy, you think that this is the top, you know, this I guess let's call it a castle. You think that it begins here and it stops here. But if you have to zoom in, you can see that there are arches, you know, there's like doorways there, which meant that this entire block here is actually all part of the castle. That's how tall it was. But, you know, as you can see, probably mud flooded and then melted, you know, some heat to, you know, it's like melted kind of brickwork type of thing. But yeah, melted mud, sorry. Again, guys, you know, always brickwork, always bricks. They all look the same all across the world, like it was the same company, the Earth Brick Company that distributed bricks across the world, and, you know, had everybody, you know, build similar houses back then. Sweet story. But yeah, you can see, guys, you know, they are always, you know, building on top of buildings. Always building on top of building, guys. You can see it, you know, I'm showing you what's visible to everybody. You know, again, his story, you know what we call mountains are actually old castles, like mega castles, because, guys, I'm sure you've seen the pictures of the giants. You know, there were giants present. There is evidence of giants being around us amongst the human population, you want to call it. We don't even, like, if you don't know your history, you don't even know what humanity was before you were here. So you can't really say no to anything and think that, nope, I'm this, I'm that, because you don't know. Your history has been made up by this dude, his story. All right, peace. Let's keep going. Again, you know, mountains, melted rocks and so on. But, you know, this castle would have been all this, you know. Moving on. You know, who built this, you know, guys? That's another great question. But we're doing mud flood, but, you know, still ask yourself, who the hell built this stuff? Like, who built this stuff, man? Like, who built this shit? And this is all like melting and all that, like, you know, like experience like a lot of heat for it to be like this, because it's all destroyed. Again, destroyed. But I bet you this would go all the way down here, guys, because you can see that these are brick walls right here, which have been the original walls of the actual building. Again, it just speaks for itself. It looks like a really mined out area. Really, like, this is not natural, guys. Don't let anybody tell you that this is natural. It's not. Okay? And your mountain, these are buildings that have been flooded and covered up. And then you get the greenery that grows on top, trees and so on. But if you were to get through there somehow, I'm sure you'd find so much more. It's like a whole city type of thing that got burnt up. But who knows, eh? These are just ideas, guys. You know, and today we'll get these buildings, you know, and of course, guys, you know, we didn't build these. You know, these have been here before us. So who built them? And why? They're the questions, you know, these build, look at this. And it's still, you know, and that's just like, this building goes a lot further down. Okay, this is a mega building, mega structure. Okay, guys. and we didn't build this. And look all these antennas and all that. Keep that in mind. Keep these antennas in mind that point to the sky to consume the etherical energy of our plane, which is free energy. And guys, kind of literally built on top of the old world. We're right on top of the old world. You can see we're being covered up with mud, and then we lived on top. Now we live on top. You can see our way goes down. See guys, bricks, bricks. This looks like a door. This looks like a window potentially, but it definitely does not end here. And you see this everywhere, guys, everywhere. Look at that, brick, old world. The new history bullshit lie begins here. You can see the concrete that they've had to pour over that, then to build that new house on top. You can see that. See this door here, obviously goes a lot further down, and there are more bricks there. And guys, look at this. This is everywhere, guys, everywhere. Look at this. These giant doors, like, what happened? What happened to our world? What happened? Who buried all this? And why? We literally live on top of the old world. See the difference? It's everywhere, guys. Everywhere. And we're finished there. Now if I go back, there's something else to show you guys. You can see my guy here with the Masonic hand gesture right there. The Masons are the inheritors of the new world. I guess you can call it that. Alright, where is it? Oh yeah, this is interesting too. I thought this was interesting because to me it looks like, he's holding a tablet, wireless, and she's actually about to make a phone call, or actually using the phone. So, and literally, guys, there's so much hidden from us, and you look at this picture, you look at this picture and you wonder to yourself, have we really evolved that much? Because it looks a lot nicer back then than it does today. Just my thought. The video, guys, if you have show your support, leave us a like, let us know down in the comments what you thought about the video, and if we missed anything out, any pictures that you may have, you can always let us know and send that through to us. Guys, until next time, peace and love. White Rabbit.